banged up in the scrimmage Saturday beyond what you thought about that day?
No, we didn't. Not a single injury. Adam Hine had, it wasn't a concussion, just a little, a bell ringer. It was a good hit, but nope, we came out of it great, which is a real positive.
Wanyunga's got an arm in the sling. He just had that before the day?
No, just more of kind of a bone bruise type thing. Nothing significant, nothing serious.
What did you get out of scrimmage after watching it, if you did watch it, that you didn't get Saturday?
You know, we were pretty accurate, I think, with what we shared afterwards. Maybe one other player I would have added is offensive tackle Michael Yeck. Did a couple things that I really liked. But about the same number of players. Chase Pendley might have been another player that helped himself in the secondary. And so, yeah, it just helps solidify what we think our two deep will look like going into the fall, and getting a chance for players to be in the stadium and experience BYU football and have some fun. And that was really what we were hoping to accomplish.
Could Chase be a backup cap?
Could be, yeah. And has, again, that scrimmage helped him, and he and Dre did some nice things as well. So, again, the depth in secondary, that was a positive that kind of came out of that at the safety spot.
Bronco, in the offseason, are you doing any, considering your defensive coordinator position, are you pretty set on doing that again next season?
I'm all the way set. I'm having so much fun doing it, but I have great assistant coaches now between Nick Howell and Kelly Papinga as really young, kind of up-and-coming bright stars. I've shifted a ton of responsibility to them. And then kind of the maturity with Paul Tidwell and Steve Kafusi, it allows me to leave the room, and the room functions at a very, very high level right now, which is why I can keep doing it. And yeah, so I have no intention of stepping away from that, and the players like it.
You famously said you were going to do it till see how tired you got.
Yeah.
Have you reached that point yet, or have you still got more energy for that?
I'm still okay. I'm still okay. I don't make any predictions on how long, but as of today, I'm good.
Did you learn anything as an independent going through that process that'll help you in year 2 of it?
The only thing that I could say is I probably underestimated the end of the season in terms of if there's not a conference championship or a significant game right at the tail end, then there's kind of a lull as you get ready for your bowl game that seems to be, I probably underestimated that. So my hope would be through scheduling is to always target and get a real nice matchup at the end of the season as well. Again, scheduling is difficult, but that's something I would probably do different. We had that in mind. The Hawaii trip was hard to know how good anyone's going to be, but that was as close to a real nice finish as we were hoping for. But I think that's going to be an imperative part of the program going forward.
Did you cut off a couple periods today, end with Skelly?
We had 2 team periods planned, but with the offense going up-tempo the entire Skelly period, that was 20 minutes of that, which means we probably doubled the number of plays. And so at that point, I thought we'd had enough.
There's no huddle hurry up pretty much the entire way, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this final week, you don't want things to culminate Friday. How do you want things to carry over then through the summer into the fall?
Just like today. So we gave our players a huge chance to get ready and prepared for player run practices, which again, they're independent. So we could kind of supervise and help them and then start actually shifting and transferring knowledge and the mantle to them as this 3.5 to 4 month period starts coming. So our practice was structured today to give oversight, but actually start the process of making sure they're most prepared to do that. And then we have a few wrinkles here and there on each side of the ball in terms of installation that the next 2 days we'll work on.
You do have a lot of injuries that you don't like to see, but it was nice to see some of those experienced guys running some of those workouts.
So it's great, and there's still 20 minutes of practice where the offensive players, even the ones that are hurt, are able to participate, so we built that in, and I think we've managed this spring really well for our given circumstances.
Back in your second year, 2006, Max Hall had to sit out that year. You went with 2 senior quarterbacks, John Beck, Jason Beck, and Max got to play scout team basically the whole year. Different deal this year, but because Taysom doesn't have to sit out. But does that 2006 year give you any kind of model to maybe you might want to go with 2 seniors, give Taysom a year on scout team like Max? Did that work for you then? Do you see any commonalities there?
It worked for us then. The key question is will we use Taysom in some form of direct snap?
Package.
And exactly right. And so we'll have to make that choice and weigh that against a year of development like Max had versus contribution right now, and in some limited capacity, and I haven't decided that yet.
Coach Dolman made a point the other day that he tried to do too much with the offense, was too complex. Did you share that perspective?
You know, just at the beginning of the season, as Coach Dolman was the offensive coordinator, we all expected, I think, Jake to be farther along and expected maybe the offense to be farther along than what it really was. And so I think that led us all, it's not certainly just Coach Dolman, led us all to believe we could handle more. And it took us a few games to realize we weren't as far along as what we had believed. And then once Coach Dolman started to simplify, scale back, that started to work, and Riley's emergence started to happen. Those two things culminated in kind of our identity last season.
We've seen a bunch of teams over the years. Do teams get motivated in training by the schedule they're going to face?
Oh, I certainly think they do. Our players want to play the very best teams they can on the biggest stages, and that's where the program currently is. To say that they're going to let down because they're playing someone that's not perceived to be as good, that's not intentional, but they do get excited and do like to visit. They had a great time in Austin last year. We lost by a point, but that was a game they had scheduled. I'm sure they love and are looking forward to playing at Notre Dame and Georgia Tech, and we're going to schedule and play as many of those teams as we can, and that's the next phase of us moving the program forward. And then, you have to not only play them, but you have to play well and win.
Can you give me just a quick assessment of each defensive position area and how you're shaping it?
Yeah, defensive line has been the thinnest position for the spring, but could be one of the deepest for the fall when we get our players back. Linebacker, we feel very good both inside and outside. If anything, it might even be a more potent unit than it was a year ago, and our secondary is probably deeper and more athletic than a year ago. So defensively, I think that as good or better than last year's unit.
No pads this week?
No pads this week. All right? Okay, thanks a lot.